Namaste. Today we will be talking about evolution of management thought. Although this is largely from the Western thought perspective, later on we will be talking about what is the Eastern thought about management in maybe next videos. So, classical approaches largely started after the Industrial Revolution. From 1890 onwards, and modern approaches are till now. So, this includes the thought on labor management, scientific management, bureaucratic management, administrative management, human relations management. All these are from 1890 to 1900, 1910, 1920, and 1930. In 1950s, quantitative approaches came into being, and in 1960s, behavioral empirical approaches, systems approach, crisis management, all these came in the decade of 1960. And in 70s and 80s, contingency theory, change, innovation management, re-engineering, TQM excellence, process approach, chaos theory or chaos theory, team building approach, lean management, all these are in the decades of 80s and 90s. We talked about knowledge management, learning management or learning organization and things like that. So agility, resilience, and nowadays we are talking about sustainability and like that. So this is the broad canvas in the diagram. It shows very well. I'll share in the class or in the PPT where you can see that very good diagram that has been made for this. So industrial revolutions brought automation, economies of scale, and even minor improvements in management tactics produced impressive increases in production quantity and quality due to largely economies of scale, which led to reductions in the average cost of a unit of production as the total volume produced increases. Opportunities of mass production created by the Industrial Revolution spawned intense and systematic thought about management problems and issues. So, efficiency, production processes, cost saving were the key words which were considered during this stage. And the concept of fixed cost and variable cost, as the production increases beyond the break even point, it really starts contributing towards the profitability of the organization because fixed cost is already met. So as you go on increasing the production beyond the BEP point, the economies of scale starts giving you multiplier effect of each scaling up that you do, at least till the 100% capacity utilization of the plant. And then after that you have to have next investment to make it to the next level, and then whatever investment is valid up to, and that fixed cost would be responsible for again giving you another break even point, which will give you more advantages. So economies of scale is something which led to a lot of development in the industrial revolution age, where from manual work to automation that started happening, and people started maximizing the outputs by minimizing the cost. And then next thought is about systematic management. The key concepts are systematized manufacturing operations, coordination of procedures and processes built into internal operations, and emphasis on economical operations, inventory management, and cost control. Inventory management, when we say, we talk about ABC analysis in inventory management, which is also known as always better control. We talk about how much inventory, what is the carrying cost, what is the buying cost, and so on and so forth. what is the reorder level. So all those things nowadays, it came to just in time kind of things. So zero inventory kind of concepts also later on came, and cost control were the main things in systematic management. So even systematic management has also evolved over a period of time, and contributions were from beginning of formal management in the United States of America, and promotion of efficient uninterrupted production, 24 by 7 kind of things were there during this time. But the limitations can be considered as ignored relationship between an organization and its environment. It ignored differences in managers, workers views and all that. So that is why more theories came after that. Let us talk about scientific management or the classical organization theory first, where the names of Frederick W. Taylor, Frank and Lillian Gilbreth, Henry Gantt are prominent, who advocated the applications of scientific methods to analyze work and to determine how to complete production tasks efficiently. The four principles which were developed are: develop a scientific approach for each element of one's work, scientifically select, train, teach, and develop each worker. So, training and development of workers became very important in this scientific management regime. This regime wanted every worker to be trained and developed for the current job as well as for the future jobs. Cooperate with workers to ensure that jobs match plans and principles, and ensure appropriate division of labor. So the principles of division of labor is also something which came into being, that everybody is not supposed to do every job, and it should be divided appropriately to people. The key concepts used scientific methods to determine the one best way of doing things, emphasize study of tasks, selection and training of workers, and cooperation between workers and management, which was missing in the earlier approaches. And the contributions could be considered as improved factory productivity and efficiency, introduced scientific analysis to the workplace, and piece rate system equated worker reward and performance. A lot of incentive plans have been given by different people. I am not going into the details of all of them, but it is still in practice whenever we go for some kind of, say, building construction and things like that. Then we want that incentive plan should be in place so that workers are tempted to work more in a given time frame. Otherwise, if you make them payment based on time, then they tend to be lethargic and the output is not time bound. If you want to construct a building within a time frame, then you have to give contract on a task basis, that if you complete this much you get this much and things like that. So this is even applicable in modern world as well. And the limitations could be considered as simplistic motivational assumptions, workers viewed as parts of machine, potential for exploitation of labor still exists, and excluded senior management task in this. So administrative management then came into being, where Henry Fayol was the person whose name is most popular, along with Chester Bernard and Mary Parker Follett. He gave 5 management functions and emphasized on the perspective of senior managers. The 5 managerial functions are planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. This is what said. And then he also, which is very popularly known as 14 principles given by Henry Fayol, which are still talked about a lot in the classrooms as well as otherwise. So, what are these 14 principles given by Henry Fayol? So, it is division of work, which was talked earlier also, Henry believed that segregating work in the workforce amongst the workers will enhance the quality of the product. Similarly, he also concluded that the division of work improves the productivity, efficiency, accuracy, and speed of the workers. This principle is appropriate for both the managerial as well as technical work level. Second is the authority and responsibility. These are the two key aspects of management. Authority facilitates the management to work efficiently, and responsibility makes them responsible for the work done under their guidance or leadership. It is also said that authority is given to you by virtue of your position in the organization, and it should be commensurate enough to your responsibilities. So, authority and responsibility go hand in hand. If there is responsibility without authority, then also there is a problem. Like if law and order is to be maintained by police, or traffic is to be maintained by traffic police, and traffic police person cannot challan you, then you are not likely to listen to the traffic police person who is standing at the red light. But if you know that there are cameras which are installed there, and if you jump the red light, then you will get a ticket, what they call in US, or a challan on the on at your home address or on in your email and things like that. So then you are more responsible citizen if you know that there are penalties involved in this. So authority and responsibility have to go hand in hand. Third is the discipline. Without discipline, nothing can be accomplished. It is the core value for any project or any management. Good performance and sensible interaction or interrelation make the management job easy and comprehensive. Employees' good behavior also helps them smoothly build and progress in their professional careers. It's like making a building. When you make a building and put bricks, all bricks are of the same size. Otherwise, you can't have a straight wall. If you want a straight wall, then you will have to have bricks of the same size. Like when soldiers do march past, then every step is in the same line. That is the discipline. So if one has to learn discipline, the defense forces are the best examples to learn how discipline is to be made or managed. So Henry Fowell, also known as the father of modern management, who gave these principles, 14 principles, what we are just discussing now, and they are still very much valid. Fourth is the unity of command. This means an employee should have only one boss and follow his command. If an employee has to follow more than one boss, there begins a conflict of interest and can create confusion. Like in matrix organization or in functional organization, there are specialists, and this unity of command gets compromised there. Like if you want an expert in the field of finance to tell you about finance, or a person who is an accountant, chartered accountant, he only can tell you the right thing in terms of statutory audit and all those things. So you have to answer to his questions. When the auditor, statutory auditor comes, you have to follow his instructions. At that particular point of time, all accounts department people have to report to him. Whatever questions he asks, you have to answer them. So, in a functional kind of an organization where the expertise lies, like marketing person is a person who can tell you what the customer really wants. A production manager can tell you how the production is to be managed, and so on and so forth. So unity of command is good concept, but in the field of specialized people, sometimes you have to have multiple inputs in terms of what you need to take a decision on. And fifth is the unity of direction. Whoever is engaged in the same activity should have a unified goal. This means all the people working in a company should have one goal and motive, which will make the work easier and achieve the set goal easily. So, this is again, if all the people are working in different directions, you will not get the results that you are looking for. So the vision and mission of the organization, the goals of the organization, the objectives of the organization should be clearly defined, which are in line with the broader goal, each goal of the employee. So that is why there is next is subordination of individual interest with the general interest. So this indicates a company should work unitedly towards the interest of a company rather than personal interest. Be subordinate to the purpose of an organization. This refers to the whole chain of command in a company. This holds true for a nation also, for the country also, that every citizen of the country or the nation should work for the interest of the country. That is why it is said sometimes country first. Japan and India actually started their journey of economic prosperity like after independence. India got independence in 1947. And almost at the same time, Japan started its recovery after the bomb blast Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What US did on Japan at that particular point of time, they were devastated fully. They were not having natural resources nor even human resources in terms of male population, because most of them were lost in the war. So it was largely women population, children which were there in Japan. But they put the nation first at that point of time to make sure that their individual interest is not there at the prime thing. It is the last priority in their life. So nation comes first for them, then uh, the the organization for which they are working, and that is next, and then family, and then the individual. Whereas in US economy, it is the individual who comes first. So it is more towards independence of each individual which is there. So culturally also there are differences if we talk about these concepts. But this, what Henry Fayol gave as 14 principles, it says that you need to subordinate. That is when US also, for 5 days a week, you are there as employee of the company. So you have to follow what the rules of the company are. And 6 and 7 day, they say we are on our own. It is our individual life. We want to go for, somewhere outside. We will not use phone and all that. So the individual interest is largely in the time of weekends and so on in economy like US. Whereas when they work for the 5 days, or in some countries even 4 days are being tried, they fully give their attention on that. So it is important, whatever is your work time, you must give your full attention to what you are doing and subordinate your individual interest to the interest of the company or to the interest of the nation at large. And seventh point is the remuneration. This plays an important role in motivating the workers of a company. Remuneration can be monetary or non-monetary. Ideally, it should be according to an individual's efforts they have put forth. But nowadays we are talking about outcome-based compensation also. So the incentives are largely based on the outcomes that one achieves, and that is why marketing people are sometimes paid more, or production, those who lead to higher production, they are paid more. So because it is easy to identify or give them incentives based on the sales that they have made or the production that they have achieved, and so on and so forth. Eighth point is the centralization. In any company, the management or any authority responsible for the decision making process should be neutral. However, this depends on the size of an organization. Henry Fayol stressed on the point that there should be a balance between the hierarchy and division of power. Although power is said to be self acquired more, and it is the authority which is given to you by virtue of your position in the organization. And nowadays, we are moving back from decentralization to centralization. There was a move in the 80s and 90s to decentralize things, and we had a lot of talk on that. But after the computerization, automation, business process reengineering, and all that, we are moving back again to centralization more, because ERP kind of technologies which have come up now, the softwares which are available, allows you to have any information about anything in the world which exists in any part of the world in the company. You may have operations in more than 100 countries, and there may be n number of branches that you have, but all information can be integrated at one place, and that is why the power of centralization is coming back again, and to reap the benefits of say buying power and things like that. So purchases become more economized. You can have bulk purchases and then distribute them. The delivery can be at the places where you want, or if there is a shortage of some product somewhere, you exactly know where the nearest place is where those items are lying more than required, and you can source them from there. So a lot of advantages of ERP kind of integrating all the units of an organization, and the centralization, that is why is very very important in the modern organizations as well. Ninth point is the scalar chain. Fuel on this principle highlights that the hierarchy steps should be from the top to the lowest. This is necessary so that every employee knows their immediate senior. Also, they should be able to contact any if needed. So hierarchy is should be, or it is something which is very very important and should be well defined. Tenth is the order. The company should maintain a well defined work order to have a favorable work culture. The positive atmosphere in the workplace will boost more positive productivity. So order is also something which is important, and equity is the 11th point. All employees should be treated equally and respectfully. It is responsibility of a manager that no employees face any kind of discrimination, whether it is because of gender or ethnicity, race, anything. No discrimination policy should be adopted. So it is coming from that time. Stability is the 12th point. An employee delivers the best if they feel secure in their job. It is the duty of the management to offer job security to their employees. Initiative is the 13th point, and the management should support and encourage the employees to take initiatives in an organization. It will help them to increase their motivation and morale. And the 14th point is aspirate the core. It is the responsibility of the management to motivate their employees and be supportive of each other regularly. Developing trust and mutual understanding will lead to a positive outcome and work environment. So these 14 principles of management can be said to be the pillars of any organization. They are integral for prediction, planning, decision making, process management, control, and coordination. So this is something which is very, very important in any organization. These 14 principles given by Henry Fayol, and you can study the difference between F.W. Taylor and Fayol, so that you understand the nuances of each one of them. So then we move to the next part, that is executives formulate the organization's purpose, secure employees, and maintain communications. Manager must respond to changing development. These are the administrative management part in which we studied 14 principles of management, and these contributions are viewed management as a profession. This that can be trained and developed. Emphasize the broad policy aspects of top level managers, offered universal managerial prescriptions, and they are still valid today. So that is the beauty of this administrative management, you can say. And the limitations are universal prescriptions need qualifications for environmental, technological, and personnel factors. And then came the human relations approach. It aimed to understand how psychological and social processes interact with the work situation to influence performance. There were Hawthorne studies, Hawthorne effect, which needs more attention. At this moment, I would only say workers perform and react differently when researchers observe them. That is the Hawthorne effect. And it was argued that managers should stress primarily employee welfare, motivation, and communication. So Abraham Maslow is the one who can be considered as the person who talked about this concept of human relations, where productivity and employee behavior are influenced by the informal work group, was identified through different studies. Cohesion, status, and group norms determine output. Social needs have precedence over economic needs. So this is for the first time during this human relations approach that it was identified or found that if there are more people, then the group behavior norm is important. Group norms, they determine the output. If they are in cohesion, then it is functional. If they are not in cohesion, then there is a problem of different kind. So psychological and social processes influence performance as per Maslow hierarchy of needs. We will study when we will study motivation, hierarchy of needs given by Abraham Maslow, and then we will again correlate this aspect. And the limitations can be considered to be as ignored workers' rational side and the formal organization's contributions to productivity. Research overturned the simplistic belief that happy workers are more productive. So even they are happy, they may not be very productive. That was found during this. And now we move to the next aspect, that is bureaucracy. Bureaucratic structures can eliminate the variability that results when managers in the same organization have different skills, experiences, and goals. It allows a large organization to perform the many routine activities necessary for their survival. People should be treated in unbiased manner. Max Weber promoted this concept of bureaucracy. The key concepts are structured network of relationships among specialized positions, rules and regulations standardize behavior, jobs staffed by trained specialists who follow rules, and hierarchy defines the relationship among jobs. In terms of contributions, we can say it promotes efficient performance of routine operations, eliminates subjective judgment by employees and management, and it emphasizes position rather than the person. But there are still limitations, limited organizational flexibility and slow decision making, what we call as red tapeism, is known along with bureaucracy, and which is very much seen particularly in the government organizations, where we say it is very bureaucratic in nature. We mean that there is slow decision making process, and we also often refer it to as red tapeism. It ignores the importance of people in interpersonal relationships. Rules may become ends in themselves, although rules are actually means to attain ends. They are not end in themselves. So we must keep that in mind when we are following bureaucracy. That rules have been made to make people's life easier. And then came the quantitative management. Teams of quantitative experts tackle complex issues facing large organizations. It helps management make a decision by developing formal mathematical models of the problem. Particularly, military planners in the World War II use a lot of quantitative management techniques. So, application of quantitative analysis to management decisions are the key concepts, and the contributions can be considered as that it developed specific mathematical methods of problem analysis. It helped managers select the best alternative among a set, and the limitations can be considered as models neglect non quantifiable factors. Managers not trained in these techniques may not trust or understand the technique's outcomes. It is not suited for non routine or unpredictable managerial decisions. We can go into details because there are separate papers of operations research which tells about different things which we use under this. So there are separate subjects or courses which are available, and in even in undergraduate level in BCom honors, we have business mathematics and things like that, and in master's level we have operations management, productions and operations management and things like that. So linear programming and all those transportation problems and all those things are considered as part of this. And then started the OB part, you can say. Douglas McGregor talked about OB, which we will talk in our next systems theory, contingency perspective, and what is the organization response, what is the organization's response for environmental things, total quality management, and other things we will deal with in the next, when we will talk about OB a little more. This is already 30 minutes, so we stop this. So, evolution of management thought in terms of OB, we will have in the next video. So, this is how management is still evolving. I invite you to consider the applicability of all the earlier thoughts also, because nothing is obsolete. They have their applicability in given situations. So it is more of situational. As we say, leadership, situational leadership is the best style. Whatever situation demands, you apply those theories there. So there is nothing like old or obsolete. All of them have validity even in today's time. So all the best. Thank you very much. Wait for the next video. Namaste.